and we'll throw this up on our YouTube channel. Well, good morning. It is good to be with everyone virtually this morning. I was commenting that we are in the world where we have plans A, B, and C, and hopefully we settle on plan D at some point, and that was this morning. So and that's okay, because we have the technology and the ability to do that. While it's not as good to be together, this also works well, and it's good to see everyone. So welcome to the very first program for the Indian Valley Chamber for 2022. I have to get used to saying 2022, and would like to welcome you all this morning. It's very good to be with you, and we have a really good program this morning. This is our annual update for the Hatfield region, and we are happy to have with us this morning Jaime Snyder, who is the brand new borough manager, and Bibro, who is the township manager. Of course, we all know Jaime. She's been with us for many years, but is in her brand new role as borough manager. So I'm going to turn this right over to Jaime and Aaron, and we'll probably take questions. We'll take questions for the Hatfield Borough when Jaime's finished, and we'll take questions for the Hatfield Township when Aaron's finished, or however we want to do that. And I'll turn it over to you, Jaime. So I have screen sharing enabled, so you're able to take advantage of that.
Great, thanks, Stephen. Good morning, everyone. I will share my screen and get my PowerPoint ready to go. Let's see. Hopefully you can see it all. And then
I have one more person I need to let in. Can I have that back for a second?
Oh, yeah. So do I stop share?
No, I see it. I got it.
By the way, I don't think Mike ever had a PowerPoint, so Jaime's already a big step up.
Stepping it up. Were you able? Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, great. As Stephen mentioned, I'm Jaime Snyder, newly appointed borough manager as of our reorganization meeting on Monday. I have been the interim manager for probably 2 to 3 weeks prior to that, and the assistant manager for the borough since 2014. So I'm happy to join you all this morning and give you an update on Hatfield Borough. Unfortunately, can't be in person. That's just the way of the world it seems we're going back to, but glad we can still get together. So a quick update before we start. As I mentioned, I'm newly appointed manager, but I also wanted to let you know that there's been a significant change in our elected officials as well. I know it's really important for those that own businesses in Hatfield Borough and live in Hatfield Borough to just know who your points of contact can be and who your elected officials are. So I just wanted to highlight that we do have 4 out of 5 brand new elected officials serving Hatfield Borough on council. We have a brand new mayor, Mrs. Gerard, including a brand new tax collector. I wanted to let you know that Mike DeFinis did retire as of January 3rd. I was appointed the manager, and I have a new assistant named Catherine Blahos, and she's the assistant manager, HR manager for Hatfield Borough. Today, I'd just like to talk about the budget for 2022. I'll go over some development that's going on in Hatfield Borough. I'll highlight some grants, some projects that we're doing, highlight our electric, and just give you some more general information. So at the December 15th, 2021 regular meeting, Borough Council unanimously passed an $8 million balanced budget for 2022. This budget does call for a 1 mil tax increase for Hatfield Borough to 3.25 mils. So for Hatfield Borough, we have 3 mils that are dedicated to strictly the borough tax, and then we have 0.25 mils, which are dedicated directly to a fire protection tax. On average, that means for Hatfield Borough residents, that it'd be $12 a month added to your taxes, or $144 per year per household. This budget did include no increases to electric or sewer rates. So moving, talk to some development that's going on in Hatfield Borough. We have the Caracasa Edinburgh Square development. If you're familiar with the borough, that's the development that's going on the corner of West Vine Street and Coffle Road. That's proposed 4 single-family homes that are being built right now. If you've been out that way recently, I believe 2, if not 3, are starting to form. They're working on building the 4th right now, laying the basement for that property. We're hoping to see that property completed and up for sale in late spring, early summer. I only say those timeframes because, as you know, many of you are in the industry, that it's just hard to get materials right now, and it's hard to get work and labor. So we're just kind of putting a little bit longer time frame on those projects that are going on in the borough. Another proposed project in the borough that is just making its way through land development right now is Prestige Properties, and that's going to be Bennett's Court. So Bennett's Court is proposed off of Maple Avenue. So if you're going down Maple Avenue, probably before you, maybe halfway down on your left-hand side, if you're coming off of Union, there it looks like a small alleyway. If you would go back there, you would come off of here, and this is where your 18 proposed townhomes will be. Right now, we're working through the land development process with them. Due to coming in and just having a cul-de-sac right here, we had asked, and prior council had asked, and the planning commission had asked that they find emergency egress out of this development for first responders. And that's just something that they continue to work through. Over here where this black square would be, that would be where Hatfield Village would be located. So they're right on that property line in Hatfield Borough, but right backing up to a Hatfield Village apartment complex. So we continue to work with them and hopefully try to get the ball rolling the beginning of this year. It was kind of put on hold at the end of last year, and hopefully this project can move forward for Hatfield. As you know, being only 7/10 of 1 square mile, 18 townhomes is really big for us. So that's, we're really looking forward to this project moving along. The next project is over in the same vicinity off of Roosevelt Avenue. This will be 43 Roosevelt Ave. There was a single family home located on the property of North Girard and Roosevelt Avenue. That's going to be torn down, and they're going to build 4 units, but it will be separated into 2 twins. So 2 twins, but 4 units. They've received a final approval. Right now, we're working on just tightening up the developer's agreement, and they're going to move forward. And I hope to see a shovel in the ground in the next few months for that project. Some grants and projects that Hatfield Borough has going on right now. As many of you have traveled through Hatfield Borough over the last, I want to say estimated 5 to 6 months, you might have noticed that East Lincoln Avenue was closed. Well, East Lincoln Avenue is open now, I'm happy to report, and I know all my downtown businesses are happy to hear that as well. The reason it was closed is Hatfield Borough received a DVRPC bridge retro reimbursement grant. That grant was to replace the East Lincoln Avenue bridge. So the bridge has been replaced, the road has been opened. The amount of the grant was for $1.2 million. We've come in under budget on that project, but we are waiting final payment on that project, which I hope to see either at the next council meeting or the council meeting in February. So that project will be closed out and we'll be looking to move forward. We were planning to having a ribbon cutting for East Lincoln Avenue, if you had seen that on our social media. Unfortunately, just due to some things that happened and the office being closed, we weren't able to have that ribbon cutting. I'm working with the elected officials to see if they want to move forward and have something, in the early 2022, just to, just honor the project. It was a lot of work, and yeah, I know the downtown businesses would appreciate that as well. So I will keep you posted if we plan on having a ribbon cutting for this project. Next projects are grant projects that we're working on in Hatfield Borough, and I would say these are our major projects over the next 2 years in the borough. So first, I'll start off with the DCED H2O PA stormwater grant that we received. So this grant is going to address all stormwater infrastructure on East Broad, West Broad, and North Main Street. We were awarded over, as you see, $600,000 in grant money for this project. As a partnership with this project on West Broad Street, we're working with North Penn Water, who is going to replace their main going down West Broad as a partnership with this project. We figured if the road was going to be open and we're going to have construction, we might as well do what we can to get everything updated and the infrastructure set moving forward. So North Penn Water has jumped on board with us. We've had several meetings with them, and we'll be working with them moving forward when we open the road up and replace the storm sewer on East and West Broad and also North Main. As a part of that project, we were also received $423,000 to work on sanitary sewer. The sanitary sewer for that project, we're going to focus mainly on North Main Street, and that was provided through DCED PA small water grant that we received. So both of these grants together and these projects together, we received over $1 million. And in large part to Representative Malagary and Senator Collette, who personally, Representative Malagary came out, took time, took pictures, worked with the state and tried to get us funding for this, which was successful. If you've driven down West Broad Street recently, or over the past several years, I would say even there, you might notice a plate on the side if you're leaving to go out to the township, going towards Penfield. There's a giant sinkhole in the road and it's just getting bigger. Those homes that are right there, I call across from Vinny's Pizza. I call them the salt box homes in Hatfield Borough. That's just how I grew up, and a name we've called them. They have no access to one half of their alley entrance. So it's long overdue. It's infrastructure that's failing. The reason Hatfield Borough is responsible for placing that is, if you may know, PennDOT does own East and West Broad Street. PennDOT does not replace infrastructure under borough in boroughs under their state roads. So that is our job and our burden to bear. So Hatfield Borough has, as I said, got this grant, and these two projects are a large portion of why we had to raise our taxes this year. Our taxes roughly bring in for $1 million, $140,000. We're just a small municipality. I know $1 million to some people seems like a lot. It's $140,000 to our budget, which is just a drop in the hat for a project like this. So that kind of gives you some idea of why taxes and those things need to be increased, because they're infrastructure projects that need to be replaced in Hatfield Borough, and they're aging. I wanted to let you know, I gave a project update on the bottom, kind of like a timeline. Really, what you need to know is don't expect a shovel in the ground until April of 2023. And I only say this because we have to work through the bid process. We have to, advertise, award. And then by the time we get to the fall, PennDOT will put a moratorium on paving or doing any work on their roads from November till April. So that kind of cuts out all of that time where we could have possibly started this year. So we're looking to start the project, estimated date, April of 2023. I will note that for North Main Street, because it's a borough-owned road, we could possibly start at the end of 2022, but that's something we'll have to work out as we're moving through the process. But these, I would say, for Hatfield Borough, two major projects that are going to be happening in the next 2 years. So keep your eye out for them. Another grant that Hatfield Borough received is the Community Development Block Grant from Orchard Lane and Forest Way. So we received the grant for $200,000 for Orchard to replace the sanitary sewer. We decided, since we had already placed the sanitary sewer on East School Street, that we would out of pocket replace the sanitary sewer on Forest as well. So on this map here, East School would be here, Forest is here, and Orchard is here. So this whole block will be replaced with sanitary sewer going out onto North Main Street, and all of North Main Street will be replaced with sanitary sewer within the next, as I said, by 2023, the end of 2023. So we're hoping to have that whole section of the borough, the infrastructure updated, and everything new by 2023. This project right now is under substantial completion. That just means we just have a checklist we're going through with the contractor to try to work with. And once everything, all I's are dotted and T's are crossed, we will move forward and close out this project on Orchard and Forest. I put on the other side the private lateral repair. I just want to bring to attention, I think it's just a neat project that Hatfield Borough does with our residents. So anytime a resident and or business, if we would be replacing sanitary sewer on your street, we offer you as part of the project to replace your private lateral to your house. The reason we offer this is any water that goes into our system from I&I, which would be infiltration into our system, rainwater, anything as you can see in your sample photos at the bottom, all of that eventually goes through our system at the metering pit and goes to Hatfield Township Municipal Authority, and we end up paying for it. So any way that we can kind of update that infrastructure and cut down on any I&I, we're all for it for Hatfield Borough. So we initiated this private lateral project. It's kind of a cooperation between us and the residents. We offer at the same price that the contractor would give, which tends to be a discounted price just due to they're able to order the stuff in volume, that will replace your private lateral. We won't charge you any interest fees. You can borrow the money from us. We will pay the project up front. Unfortunately, all we do in return is lien your property until you pay that off. So it's interest free up to a year. We'll pay for it up front for you. You pay us back over a year. The only stipend is that we do have to lien your property just to make sure that we eventually will get our funds back. I would say on East School, we probably had 10 residents that took advantage of this. On Orchard, we'd have 6 residents that took advantage of this. This kind of the first 2 sections of the borough that we've offered this project. We're going to be offering it on North Main when we go through that. So it's just a way for us to help out the residents, and also a way for them essentially to help out us and lowering their I&I. Just think it's a cool idea and initiative that we thought about. And we actually passed an ordinance in, I believe it was October, that anyone that wants to sell their home in Hatfield Borough has to have their private lateral videotaped. And if it needs to be repaired, they would have to repair it before they would go to settlement or work something out in settlement. So this is kind of an initiative. If you're thinking about selling your home, those on Orchard or East School were told that that was coming down the line and they would have to do it anyway. So a lot of them jumped on board for this project. Some other grants that Hatfield Borough received is the Multimodal Transportation Fund grant, or the MTF grant. These are going to address 2 crosswalks in Hatfield Borough. If you've driven through Lansdale on Main Street where the Boys and Girls Club is, they have that really big mast arm that comes across with pedestrian crossing signals. That's the exact thing we're looking for to put in Hatfield Borough. The 2 intersections that we are going to be putting them at is, well, crosswalks, I say, intersections is, if you're familiar with Vinny's Pizza at where Talmenton Avenue and Broad Street come in, but closer to Vinny's, if you can see in this picture where my mouse is, right there, we'll be putting a crosswalk with a mast arm. This was actually part of the zoning hearing board order that came for Vinny's, but also really big on when Safe Routes to School was popular and getting the children from the Heather Meadows developments across West Broad to Penfield Middle School, because there are no sidewalks on the side of, if you want to call it where Rosenberger's was, there are no sidewalks going all the way down on 40-foot road there. So this was just a way for to get pedestrians, including school students, safely across the street. And as I said, it was part of the Vinnie's zoning hearing board order. The other crosswalk will be located on our Liberty Bell Trail. This is on South Main Street, if you're familiar where the main hotel is, or the big one, Mom's Water Ice in the summer, where there's lines down the road. That crosswalk gets a lot of activity in the summer, especially as it connects the Liberty Bell Trail from the West Vine Street side to the Main Street side. So there will be a mast arm there as well for that crosswalk. We don't see, just because these crosswalk is going to correlate, the one on Broad Street is going to go with the project that we're doing where we're replacing the sanitary and storm sewer. I don't see this being done until 2023, just because we're not going to put a crosswalk in and then dig it up a year later. So I think we have till 2024 to use the funds. So look for that in the next year or so to start to come. Another grant that the borough has in partnership with actually Hatfield Township is a flashing warning device at the Hatfield Volunteer Fire Company. So there will be a warning device where the fire company is located, one on Union Street, one on North Market Street. The estimated borough cost is only $6,000 for this project. We are sharing it 50-50 with Hatfield Township. And we had a pre-con meeting and a poll location meeting on December 17th. So that project is moving forward. I believe our permit for that runs out sometime in March or April. So I expect over the next couple months that you'll see those devices going up, which will really help out the Hatfield Volunteer Fire Company. I know it's a hard intersection to begin with. It's hard to get out, and the easier we can make it for them to be able to respond, the better. Just our average 2022 projects that we always do in Hatfield Borough. Wanted to bring to your attention that we'll be replacing ADA curb ramps on East Lincoln Avenue, East School Street, and Orchard Lane. We'll also be replacing them at the corner of East Broad, North Market, and East Lincoln Avenue intersection. That intersection is going to also entail the driveway apron at the old wood burners or salters location, or the septa lot as we call it. It's going to be a little bit tightened and make it just more ADA compliant. So we will be addressing the driveway apron there as well. And then the two roads that are on for paving in 2022 is East Lincoln Avenue and Poplar Street. So again, that's right down where the bridge was in that area. They're going to be the roads that we'll be focusing on in the spring of 2022. We're also in the middle of doing our Jade Drive storm sewer pipe and inlet replacement project. All of Jade Drive, 50% of it was done this year. The 50% of it will be done next year. That will be replacing all the storm sewer pipe and inlets on Jade Drive. That is an in-house project that Hatfield Borough Public Works is doing. So if you or anyone you know lives in the area, there'll just be some road work and construction most of the summer on Jade Drive. So moving on to electric. Wanted to let you know that if you don't know already, Hatfield Borough is a proud member of PMEA, which is the Pennsylvania Municipal Electric Association. I currently serve as secretary of the executive board for that organization. We are a public power provider, which means we are one of 35 municipalities in Pennsylvania that own and operate our own electric system. Those similar to us around here would be Lansdale, Percy, Quakertown. So as being a public power provider, we focus a lot on electric here in Hatfield Borough. One of the projects that is 99% complete for us right now is the advanced metering infrastructure system. That is an AMI meter. Everybody in Hatfield Borough, except one business currently, has the new AMI system. That system allows for better customer service, better safety and system maintenance, billing efficiency, and we are able to disconnect and reconnect residents and businesses just from our computer now, instead of our public works having to go out and do it physically. We can do it. A really great thing about this, and I'm proud of, is the customer portal. So if you at home have PP&L or a Pico, I know they have a customer portal where you can go in and you can log your or monitor your electric usage. You can see kind of when you peak during the day, which means when you are using it at your highest point, and you can make those adjustments. Before, our residents had no idea, or our business owners had no idea when maybe they could save or when they were using the most electric during the day. They can now go into this utility portal and monitor all of that. And it kind of gives some idea of maybe when you might not want to run your air conditioner so much, or if you're using stuff late at night, cut down. So it's just good for our residents to be able to have those amenities that the big investor-owned utilities have. As part of the electric, we are in the midst of doing a behind-the-meter generation project. So this is through AMP, which is one of our electric providers that we work with for creating our electric portfolio. This is a peak shaving project. Just to keep it really simple, it's going to address the rising capacity and transmission charges for Hatfield Borough. So I can say between capacity, transmission, and ancillary charges on our bill that we buy power from is 53% of our bill. So the other percent of our bill is strictly power, a purchase of hard power that's coming. So 50% of that, if you can imagine, are these charges that we have absolutely no control over. So that's capacity and transmission and those ancillary charges I mentioned. What this project is going to do is this generator here, you can see it's on my left. The generator, it's going to be located at the Public Works facility, hooked to our, what I call, it's not really a substation, but if we had a substation, it would be next to Mom's Water Ice. What's going to happen is we can take all of Hatfield Borough offline. So during those really high peak days, which are mostly in June, July for us, or December and January for us in the winter, we can take Hatfield Borough kind of off grid and run this generator. And then we're saving those other charges. We're not getting transmission. We're not getting capacity. Like, we're off grid. We're using this generator to power our municipality. So we're not getting those charges from our provider. This project actually did not cost Hatfield Borough any money up front. It was, and I don't want to say essentially free, but those credits that we're getting when we're going on these peak shaving days are actually going towards our bill. And we don't see those savings until this project is paid off after 8 years. So it was no out-of-pocket cost for us, but what we see in our savings, we won't see on our bill for 8 years. So it kind of, in a sense, pays for itself for the 8 years of the project. And then we can move, and then we then start to see those savings in our electric costs. I will say it's scheduled to be turned on in February. We'll keep moving forward. We still are tightening up some things with PP&L, as they're our direct contact and distributor. We receive power directly from them. So we have to make sure that everything's good with our connections. And I will add that this generator could essentially back up 98 to 99% of the borough in a major power outage. What I'm calling a major power outage is Sandy, or if we would have had something that would have happened during Ida, where Hatfield Borough was out of power with Sandy for 3 days, this generator can back up 99% of the borough. How we're looking to use this would be in an instance like that. We have 3 circuits. We will take somebody off and we'll power 2 circuits, and we'll do a rotating. So everybody will essentially at least have power for a few designated hours during a major storm. So I don't see us using this for utility poles that are taken out by drivers. If we're out of power for an hour or two, it's definitely backup for one of those major events. So I also wanted to highlight it, our 2022 Brewery Events. We're going to be doing Earth Day. We'll be a movie in the park. We'll have Founders Day and our Fall Festival. Right now, we are still working on pinning down those dates. So once my public information officer has those, they'll be released onto our social media. And hopefully you guys can join us. Some borough business updates I wanted to let you know of is Santucci Square Pizza on 8 North Market Street is up and open for business. Hatfield Market at 304 Union Street is open for business. That's where the old 7-Eleven used to be. Juan Martinez, has opened a Mexican grocery store at 110 East Broad Street. So actually that whole, if you want to call it strip mall, if that's what you would call it there, has been sold and bought by a new owner. Juan has moved in. I know there was a previous laundromat there. We're still deciding how that's going to be moving forward. But that whole strip mall was bought, so I can see some renovations coming to the downtown area for that section of the borough. And I always like to highlight that George Didden Greenhouses celebrated 100 years in Hatfield Borough this year. They've been open for, I think, 2014. They celebrated their 100th anniversary in general as a business, but specifically their greenhouse here on the corner of Butler and West Vine Street has celebrated 100 years this year. And I think that's just something for everyone to be proud of. If you see Dan, let him know, you know about it and congratulate him. Also, just like to highlight for everybody, if you're looking to find some more information on us, you can always check us out on Facebook, Twitter, our Instagram. We still do have a Comcast Channel 22 and Verizon Channel 24 if you're interested in watching our TV channel. I will note that currently Hatfield Borough is recording all council meetings and they are posted to YouTube. So if you would just search Hatfield Borough on YouTube, if you're not able to attend one of our council meetings, you'll be able to watch it on our YouTube channel. We do have a new website that we've launched mid last year, I want to say. So if you haven't been able to check it out, I suggest that you do. I think they did a really nice job on that. We are kind of changing up things. We started last year with our newsletters and working with the Indian Valley Today. So Hatfield Borough has jumped on board and is a part of that. And you will receive that newsletter if you are a business or a resident in Hatfield Borough twice a year. That includes like Telford, Souderton, Franconia, and Lower Salford. And Hatfield Borough has become a part of that. We are also working with Tracy, who's on this call, and we're redoing our Borough Informer. So our Informer, if you've seen before, we kind of made it in-house and it was just things we had put together. I'm really looking forward to having our new Informer go out and be more of a magazine and more articles, more in-depth details about what's going on in Hatfield Borough. So we'll be working with Tracy, and that will also be delivered twice a year to any borough resident and business. So essentially, we will still continue to have 4 newsletters a year. There will just be 2 through the Indian Valley and 2 through Hatfield Borough specifically. And that's it for Hatfield Borough. If anybody has any questions, I don't know if we're gonna do them now, Stephen, or if we'll wait till after Aaron's done.
Let's do them. Let's do them now. And if anybody has anything when Aaron's done, we can ask those too. But this is a small enough group. I think we can. I won't need to moderate it. But if you just want to unmute yourself and ask Jaime, we can do those questions now.
Congratulations, Jaime.
Thank you.
And quick question on the project on with tearing up the road starting in 23.
Yeah.
Do they have an estimated duration for that project? Because I'm sure that's going to create a mess. So
yeah, our engineer thinks we'll be done by November of 2023. So if we start in April, we'll be done by November.
oh, that's not too bad then.
Yeah, I was surprised, but hey, he knows better than I do. But I didn't think that was going to be too long. And I think it'll work better if we can get North Main Street started earlier. So it's not North Main, West and East Broad all at the same time, because that intersection at North Main, West and East Broad is going to be in all honesty, a nightmare if it all torn up at the same time. So we'll have to coordinate that with the contractor.
Josephine Martin has a question here. What is the fuel that you are using for the generator? And then what's the runtime for the storage for that fuel?
Sure. So the fuel is diesel. And we have a contract for that, and it can run for a little over 24 hours per one tank, and there's 3 tanks in there.
Thank you.
Jamie, I'm sorry if I missed it, but what's, and I almost hesitate to bring this up, what about Market Street? PennDOT supposedly had that on their like 42-year plan to repave, but
Yeah, so as far as I know, that it's still on PennDOT's plan to repave. They even confirmed that when we were doing it in December, when we were out there at the Firehouse Flasher, when they were out there to set the pole with us to talk about the location. It's still on their plan to repave, and also including if you go right around the bend at the firehouse there, you see the cones that were always there. There's like a small sinkhole. PennDOT has taken responsibility for that, and PennDOT has said that they are going to pay for that. Again, PennDOT said they were going to pay for that. So that's big for us. So I believe it's for 2023, if I'm not mistaken. So I would, or 2022, I'm sorry. So I would look for that, because we had talked about that our road was going to be dug up. Can they not put East Broad on there as well? Because that was scheduled to be paved, if they could do that later, and they said yes. So it's still on their schedule. I'm sure it's probably been pushed back by now, and it'll probably be in the next 5 years, but it's on their schedule.
And Jackie Baxter Rollins has a question. Are there plans to add any on-road bike lanes?
So right now, no, that's not a discussion that we had on any roads that we would be paving for Poplar or East Lincoln. But I do know that that has been a conversation that people have brought up when we talked about going through the Liberty Bell Trail feasibility study and moving on that. And I'm not sure if that's something people are looking at too. And I don't know if Aaron's heard more. I know somebody brought it up to putting them on Penn Avenue, kind of talking about, and a little bit of that's in the borough, and a lot of that's in Hatfield Township. That was a place. But right now, specifically for borough roads, no, we haven't talked about that.
Thanks. Any additional questions? Well, and if you have any more, we can throw those in at the end also. So thanks very much, Jamie. That was a comprehensive overview. There's a lot going on in the borough, and again, congratulations. You are well known to this group, but congratulations on the new position. So
Thank you.
thank you. And we have Aaron Bibro with us. Aaron is also well known to us. He is with Hatfield Township. And Aaron, I'm going to turn this over to you right away. So screen sharing should be enabled if you have a PowerPoint, and you're good to go.
Sounds good. Thanks, Steve. I will launch my PowerPoint here. I just added to my New Year's resolution to have Jamie teach me how to do PowerPoint, because she's clearly more gifted than I am. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year to you all. So this is my 9th year presenting these updates, and I look around this virtual room. Pretty neat. Over the 9 years, I look around at the businesses in our town and our community. I buy all my insurance through Bob. Denise and Dan, I've had a loan through Hardersville Bank. The Hags, I buy my trees from. I'm going to talk about Robert Berge and his business, and Tracy, I'm going to get to you as well. But it's been very beneficial to me personally. I know we've built some really good relationships over the years, and I often in my head complain that I have to go and present to another group, but in the end, in hindsight, it's been really good for me, and I hope it's been pretty good for the businesses as well, learning about what's going on in the community. So let me get my more of a 1998 style PowerPoint compared to what Jamie just put up. Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we should be at the beautiful at the beautiful new Berge's facility on 309, and I know Robert Berge is on the call here. what a nice upgrade. The only downside is now my wife sees it a lot more often than the other place and has already made many visits to that facility, but beautiful addition to Hatfield Township. And so we appreciate the Bergies and what they did to that corridor was very important. But so another relationship that I've built over the years, and does the screen look okay, by the way? Because I just got a new laptop. It looks different to me, but all right. Thank you, Steve. So as well as all of the other businesses that I mentioned and the relationships built, one I wanted to highlight specifically was what Jaime mentioned briefly, and that's with Tracy and Illustrated Design. So I met Tracy in these updates many years ago, and I always thought we need to upgrade our newsletter. It looks like what I put together in my 5th grade class, and that's no knock on what we were doing, but we all have 35,000 other things to do, and we would carve out an hour here or there and try to put together a newsletter for our community. But we needed professionals. We needed people that knew what they were doing and that could dedicate time to the newsletter. And Tracy and her team did an amazing job of putting together the last 2 newsletters that went out to our community. Really proud of what it looks like and what we've been able to provide, and looking forward to how we're going to grow that, and meeting with Tracy today at 10 to talk about our next one. So that's a benefit of these updates for sure. So I want to talk about a bunch of things that are happening in Hatfield. You drive around Hatfield and you see construction everywhere. So let's talk about some of those things. Some you may perceive as good, and I know many may perceive as not welcome growth. And I hear from those people very often. So Clemens Park, and I'm going to talk about mostly the good, in what my opinion is the good. So Clemens Park, our 2nd largest park in the township. Hopefully everyone's familiar where that is, across from the large smokehouse that's being built. This is an existing shot of the park. It has expanded, quadrupled over the last 5 years. It used to just be this ballpark, and now it's essentially this entire area. So just as of last week, we were awarded, thankfully, through DCNR, and like Jaime said, the help of Senator Collette and State Rep Malagary, we were able to bring $250,000 from the state back into the community to develop this park and turn it into what we think will be almost as nice as what we have at School Road. And in that new park, you're going to see something like this. You're going to see a new road, a new entrance road. You're going to see a nice public bathroom. You're going to see a nice, large, inclusive playground for kids with all abilities can come and enjoy and play with their friends. You're going to see a parking area here and here, and we're going to begin this great new partnership and adventure that we have with a local nonprofit called Garden of Health. You may have heard of Garden of Health, but they do great work, not complicated work, but needed work and amazingly impactful work. They grow fresh produce and they give it to families that can't afford fresh produce. We know the cost of everything is going up, which makes it even harder for a lot of families to eat healthy. And this group has a few acres in Town Menson. I would take my kids to Fisher Park, which is, we don't have Town Menson on the line, but one of the great parks in our area. And I would always drive by this garden thinking, what is that? And I started to look it up, look into it, and thought that was a pretty neat place. And at the same time, we were lucky enough to acquire this 8 acres from Clemens Food Group. And we thought, what a great way to help that organization expand, as well as preserving our space, and adding a feature and a service to the community that we currently don't have. So we're looking forward to that's going to be a 10-year partnership, and I'd imagine that will continue in perpetuity as long as there's the commitment from both parties. So we're excited to see where that goes. It's going to be a lot of volunteers, a lot of community coming together to work. High school kids, elementary school kids from Penfield, middle school will be there partnering and learning how to grow vegetables and then handing them out and working together to help the community. I think that'll be a pretty neat partnership. So what else is going on? Let's see. We recently received another grant, and you hear the word grant a lot. It's because Jaime said grant a good 45 times, and Jaime does an amazing job at getting grants for the borough. Without these grants, we can't do projects like this. If we did, our taxes would quadruple. We have a lot of great plans, but obviously cost is always at the forefront of every conversation. So without funding from the state or the federal government, we struggle to accomplish some of our bigger goals. So we fixed Cowpath and Orvilla, which was obviously the main intersection that we had to improve. I know it's not perfect, and I know everyone wants a turn arrow on Orvilla, and we're working on that, but that's up to PennDOT and not us. And you'll hear us make fun of PennDOT a few times this morning, but so that's done for the most part. Our next intersection that causes the most headaches and aggravation is Welsh and Orvilla. And I would imagine many of you would agree to this. We've all been stuck with someone in front of you that's turning from Orvilla, and it jams up everybody. So we just received a grant for about $500,000, again, from the state. With a partnership of Town Medicine, since we share this intersection, we're going to look at this intersection and design it. This just give you a better look of, not that any of you need to know what this intersection looks like, but not the easiest intersection to improve. You have these people that have some say in things, and we are not at all going to have a conversation with anybody that's related to anyone in that cemetery. We're not touching that. We know a few things to not do. So though we have 3 other areas that we hope to improve. The goal is turn lanes in every approach. So hopefully we can fix that over the next few years. It's not a quick process. None of these things are. But we were told, I know I was told for years that Cowpath and Orvilla would never be fixed, and that somewhat fuels us, and we did get it done. So we'll get this one done as well. Some of the upgrades we had in 2021, just little things, but I think are pretty impactful to communicate to the community, as well as just an appearance. We had new digital sign upgrades at our park, one across the street almost from Dan. So hopefully, Dan, the lights aren't keeping you up at night. But so far, we've heard some positive things from the residents. Simple things like paving your main park makes such a big difference. It took a School Road Park, which is our largest park, when the asphalt's crumbling and the park's starting to look aged, what a great way to give it a facelift and breathe some life into it. And we're also this year now going to add some large playgrounds in that area and replace some of the old ones and upgrade it. It's almost like getting a new park. We also have had long conversations, and not all of it's completely public, but the property owner did make a few public statements this year. So I feel like that gives me the opportunity to say some things publicly, but our goal is to preserve Twin Woods, and maybe it's a secret, maybe it's not, but we have talked with Betty, the owner, for years, and she's very interested in preserving it as well. But Betty does a great job of running that golf course, and she wants to continue to run it, and she should run it as long as she possibly can. She grew up there, her dad built it. But I want the community and everyone here know that that's 45 acres that we are committed to preserving and keeping it as a 9-hole golf course, and hopefully then adding that to our park and maybe even more land. But we think that can be one of the better parks in the county when we're done. Within the last 5-6 years, we built a brand new trail, Frick's Trail, that makes pretty large connection through the township. We heard from a lot of people saying, "Where you talk about this trail all the time, where is it? How do I get there? How do I get around?" So this year we put up some new signs everywhere. The goal was wherever you get dropped on that trail, you should be able to navigate it. And so we added a lot of new signs throughout, and hopefully more people then can enjoy it. I talked to a 3rd grade class at AM Colt last year. It was a local government day, and I'm curious to hear what the kids would say. And by far the biggest feedback from them was, "We love Frick's Trail and the Aquatic Center," which was pretty neat. I was surprised to hear all the kids talking about all the features of Frick's Trail. Need to hear that feedback. We put a lot of effort into that. If you drive down Vine Street, right near the township building, we recently acquired this property, and it looks like this now. So it's nice to see some more open space added. This is now the 7th demolition that we've had, thanks to a partnership with the local operating engineer union, the 542 out of Fort Washington. No cost to the township. It's an apprenticeship program. I've talked about it a lot. I'm sure you heard me saying it, and really all thanks to Larry Hughes, a Hatfield Township resident who was a former commissioner, former vice president, had lined this relationship up for us. It's really been a huge opportunity for us to make a lot of these things happen at low or no cost. So along with the trail, we added these pedestrian bridges. We built in-house. We have some really talented employees in the public works department. I was joking that we should start a decking company one of these days, but they do great work. So a big project regionally that is happening. This is another one of those where everybody said it will never happen. It'll never happen. There have been people that have lived in Hatfield Township for since the 60s and 50s and have always been pushing for this connection. It's happening. The bids have been awarded. The pre-construction meetings happened. The dirt will start moving any day now, I would imagine. So this is that phase 2 of the 309 Sumneytown Pike connector. This is one of those projects where I could walk into one room and I get a standing ovation for an applause of this is finally happening. And I walk into the next room and they're burning the building down that this is happening. It's just one of those, depending on where you live, this is the best thing that's ever happened or the absolute worst thing that's ever happened. But the point of this project, and again, this is a PennDOT project. It's been in the planning phases for far too long. The point was, let's get our trucks out of the local roads. Let's get them to the turnpike. Let's get them to 309 without having to go through the residential areas. So this, although it is not a complete connection to 309, that will be coming in phase 3. This is a connection that will take all of the R&L trucks, all of the trucks coming out of our industrial area in Souderton, and it will take it straight through to Sumneytown Pike into the turnpike interchange. So huge upgrade. 2 to 3 year construction time, but it's happening. And another neat feature for those of you who like to get out and move along, and Jackie mentioned trails and bike routes. The entire stretch of this portion of the project will have a dedicated 10 or 12-foot asphalt trail, completely separate from the road for biking and walking. And our goal is to then make a connection to the Liberty Bell Trail to this. So it's going to give a great pedestrian and recreational connection in our community. Speaking of the trail, so Liberty Bell Trail is considered by the county they call it a regionally significant trail. So it's important to everybody in the area. The only town that has ever accomplished building this trail is Hatfield Borough. Jaime should get all the credit for that. There's a half-mile stretch in the borough that is built where none of the other towns, although I can't say that anymore. Lansdale does have a portion of it built. So our goal now is that dark red is what's built. We need to make the pink happen. So we're working on that, but what a neat connection to connect all these communities. We're working together with Upper Gwynedd, Lansdale, Franconia, Souderton, and it would be a pretty great accomplishment. So we're going through that feasibility plan now. It's pretty much done. I can tell you one thing we're doing in the township. So there are, like Jaime said, parts of the route we're still waiting to finalize, but there are parts that we know for sure where it's going to go. This one in particular in Hatfield, behind Snyder Square Shopping Center on the other side of the tracks, there's a straight stretch that you'll see here. There's only essentially one parcel. This is PP&L property. And then this triangle is owned by Diddens, our 100-year anniversary Diddens greenhouse. Diddens is currently working on an application to develop this portion, an expansion of their business. And we'll be coming in with a land development application in the next quarter or half a year. So we're working on them to possibly get that connection. We have a grant application in for this red stretch. Took us a while, but we have PP&L permission to build it. We just need some funding. Believe it or not, this red stretch is $1 million to build an asphalt trail, $1 million. So we can't afford that, but we should find out in the next few weeks if we're going to receive funding for this $1 million stretch, which will give us a nice connection to Orvilla. All the people that live here will be able to walk then and connect right to the Hatfield Borough portion, which then connects to the Chestnut Street Trail and through all of the Hatfield Township stuff and the borough businesses. Pretty neat connection. Would give us a real big jump start on what we're trying to accomplish. All right, so another thing, I want to show you this, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pull this off, but we've been working. I'm going to stop share just for a second as I pull this up. We've been working, a resident approached us about a year ago asking to do a mural back in 2020, right? It seems like a long time ago now, but the world felt like it was crumbling at times. A lot of things were going on even beyond COVID with a lot of the civil unrest. And we had some community members that came to us and they wanted to do something positive that would maybe bring the community together and heal us a little bit. So we started this journey back in 2020. We hired an artist out of Philadelphia. We got funding completely outside of taxpayer money to pay for this. We have a design now for the mural that's going to be on our Aquatic Center wall. Right now we have a Sharky on there. We have this large wall that is ugly when nothing's on it. So we have a mural. It's going to start getting painted in the next probably next few months. It's going to be done before the Aquatic Center opens. I want to share it. I'm going to just scroll through this mural. Keep in mind, it's a really odd shaped wall. It's a long rectangle. I'm just going to scroll through it, but we think, and please, only positive feedback, because you have no idea how hard it is to take ideas from a community group that approached you through the elected officials, through other community members to get to where we did today. I think that alone is an accomplishment. So I want to scroll through it, and I think it's going to be maybe one of the better public murals that you'll see, in my opinion. All right, so let's see if we can walk through this together. All right, does everybody see this side of the mural? Remember, the mural's a long rectangle, right? Long rectangle. All right, here we go. So this is the one side. So we're just going to go through it together. The pictures from these are actual pictures from the township. So that the artist, believe it or not, paints it in her studio in Philadelphia on what she calls this parachute paper. And then she applies it to the wall and then paints throughout to make it a seamless transition. So again, showcase of the Hatfield diversity, right? 20% of Hatfield residents were not born in the United States. 20% of our residents, English is their second language. So we want to showcase that. We want to showcase all the good things we do. Officer Ryan Saunders, dog park. The middle will be our seal with a Hatfield strong. How she's going to pull this off, I have no idea. It's our fire companies, both fire companies represented. Just a positive message. Pickleballers and the moose from Lou Farrell on Orvilla Bend that we have to showcase, because that's all anybody seems to care about is the Moose family. So that is our mural that we're pretty excited to see happen. It looks neat on a illustration. How it's going to look on the wall, I have no idea, but fingers are crossed, because my building will get burned down if that doesn't happen. All right, thank you, Jackie. Let me go back to the PowerPoint. And I'm going to speed up. I know it's 9. You guys have real jobs to get back to. So I just wanted to, as we close, just show you some of the businesses that are, and most of you are familiar with these, but there's so much construction happening in Hatfield, and just so everyone is aware of it, and I'm sure there might be some questions about it. That's Sterling Business Center, a massive building that you see on 309. There's 3 more coming, not as big. So right now, this map's obviously a little dated because this building's pretty much done. It's only at this point 25% occupied. I think 25% more has been leased or close to leased, and then the other 50 not yet. But it's not Amazon. It's distribution centers for a lot of online retailers. 1A, 1B just got approved. So that's 2 more buildings. And this one down here had already been approved. So there'll be this, and this when it's finished. 4 warehouses, all distribution centers. They're big shells. There's another Wawa coming to Hatfield. If you weren't familiar with that, at Broad and Cowpath, that very busy intersection there, the old Luke Oil station next to Giuseppe's recently was approved, and that's heading our way. That's our 48th Wawa, I think. I'm kidding, but the Dunkin' Donuts and Wawas, we have a few of those. It's going to look a little bit like this. Now, the big one on 40 foot, I figured I'd just show it again, just so you know what's coming our way. The dirt has been moving, the road's in, these are going to sell quickly. And a lot of people were worried about that, but right now is a perfect time to build homes, and they're going to do quite well as the one on Walters, which is the Ryan Homes are building the 65. This is Franconia right here, Cowpath Township line. This is by the way, where the connector road runs right through this on Township Line Road. And it stops right at Hatfield Souderton Pike. That's where the end of phase 2 is, right in this corridor. And then this is the smokehouse across from our garden. The shell's there. You see it. It's big, and it's a big investment into the community with our by far our largest employer and longest employer. And without Clemens, there is no Hatfield really. They've developed that entire corridor. So a lot's going on. I didn't highlight all of our projects and all of the land development projects, but I think that's enough, and happy to answer any questions. But appreciate your time this morning, and Happy New Year to everybody. So happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, let's hear your questions.
Morning, Aaron. It's Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Couple of quick questions. With the construction that's going on with the Clemens Food Group, is there something going on adjacent to the park, or is that just like their staging area?
Good question, Dan. So right now it is their staging area, but they do have a land development application coming in for that piece. And they are proposing to build some more buildings that look like what they have a little closer to 40 foot, where Pipes, where Pipes is right behind Dunkin' Donuts.
Yep.
They've proposed another stretch of those type of buildings at some point once they're done with this project.
Okay. And I got two more quick ones for you. The property on Vine Street that was just demolished, is the plan just to keep that as open space and just let it be passive?
Yep, trees, and we're probably gonna put a bench in, Dan, to recognize the property owner. He was a longtime firefighter, but we're not putting anything in there.
Nice. And last one, how about the on the northbound side of 309 where the shed place used to be?
That's gonna be that's gonna be a Bergey's Kia dealer.
Oh, okay.
Bergey's Kia, and that is all approved, and that will be happening soon too.
Be nice to see something in there and clean that whole section up. So.
Yep, I agree.
And
Thanks,
it's
Dan.
nice to see that they're finally making some changes at Orville and 309 as well.
Yeah, those are some nice improvements too. That was tied to the Wendy's and the other development there. It just took a long time to get those improvements in. But you're right, that lane turning in is going to help.
I like it. I like it already.
Good. Good. Glad to hear that.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you, Dan.
Aaron, just a quick question on that Clemens Park. In the picture you showed, it didn't show the ball field in there. Is that still there? Is that still going to be there, or is that getting?
Yeah, Bob, the field stays untouched.
Okay.
So we're going to be building around that. I think it was in the one illustration. It's not in the garden. The garden was in a blow up of the actual garden, but all the fields will stay untouched. We're going to just around it will be a bathroom, a playground, and then that garden. But yeah, fields, we're not messing with any youth sports organization. I've learned that lesson a few times.
And I wanted to pick on you about the mural, but you already said I'm not allowed to, so.
You're not allowed. And there's no Penn State logos on there for Bob. That was
I
one of the
noticed that
requirements.
Dan and I were not included in the picture of the music feast.
Well, you were dancing to the side and no one wanted to see that, Bob.
Hey, Aaron, with the Fricks Trail, is there any plans to put parking anywhere other than on Line Lexington?
Yes, good question, Tracy. There is plans to build a small parking lot on Orvilla, right at the Independence and Orvilla section, near the church. We're going to put maybe a 15-car stone lot right there this year.
Perfect, thanks.
Aaron, is the church still in progress, or is that?
Good question, Dan. Every time I bump into them, they tell me they're going to be applying for the land development soon, and that they've been saying that for about 5 years now. I'd love to see the township acquire that piece too and preserve that, and they know that. They still, I think it's just helpful, and it's something they think is important to build a church there one day. So whether or not that happens, I don't know.
Well, hopefully, if they ever break ground, it goes faster than the one on Unionville.
Oh yeah, and this is going to be on YouTube, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
any additional questions for either Aaron or Jaime? I'll take that as a no. I want to thank you both. This was an excellent deep dive into what's happening in the Hatfield region, and we're going to send this out and make sure that folks who were not able to join us this morning are able to view this online. And one of the beauties of technology is that we can reach a whole lot of people. So I do want to thank everyone for joining us this morning, but especially Jaime and Aaron. Thanks for your time. You guys did a fantastic job presenting. There's a lot of really good stuff happening in this community, and I continue to be amazed with both the for-profits, the nonprofits, and of course the civic organizations and the governmental organizations. You guys just do a fantastic job of really working at providing and promoting a healthy business climate. It's a place where people want to bring their businesses. It's a place where people want to work and live and play, and it's really a testament to the work that everybody puts into this community. So I want to thank you. And I want to thank everyone on the call also, because you guys are extremely involved in the community, and the work that you do absolutely shows through. So I want to wish everyone a happy and healthy 2022. I do want to let you know that we have a program coming up at the end of January. It's the Educational Improvement Tax Credit. Now, these tax credits are state credits, and that for many, many years had only been available to businesses. That program has now been opened up to individuals. So anybody is now eligible for these state tax credits. My wife and I have participated in these for the last 20 years. I believe they're the best thing since sliced bread. The government doesn't give us many tax credits. They're usually tax deductions. So be sure to sign up for that. Let your friends know about it, and it's on our website. So wanted to put a plug in for that. I hope to see you all soon, and reach out to me if you have any questions or things that you need to or want to talk about. And I wish you all a really good rest of the week and 2022. So long, everyone.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everybody.
Steve.
Thank you.
Jamie. Nice job.
Thank you.